The information contained in this episode is for informational purposes only. No material is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
We need a revolution. There's only one solution. I need somebody to show me love. We need a revolution.
Hello and welcome to episode 377 of Informed Life Radio on 1150 AM KKNW Seattle and streaming to CHD TV, Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook. Thank you for joining us today. I know you have a lot of choices out there, so we're honored you chose us. I'm your host, Lisa Templeton, and this hour of free speech is brought to you by the nonprofit Informed Choice Washington, working in our state for over a decade to protect our medical autonomy. It's our donors who keep this free speech on the air and support our efforts. So if you want to help us with this, go to informedchoicewa.org and hit donate to pledge your financial gift, whether it's one time or recurring. We really count on you to continue this work, and thank you. The views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of KKNW or CHD, and the information provided is not intended to be medical or legal advice. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Cherie Calbom, known to many as the Juice Lady. She's a former QVC presenter with George Foreman for many years, and she earned her master's degree in Whole Foods Nutrition right here in Washington at Bastyr University. She's the author of 36 books that have helped millions of people think differently about food, healing, and prevention. She joins us today to discuss her latest book, The Truth About Seed Oils, How the Heart Healthy Myth Made Us Sick and How to Heal with Real Fats, that she co-authored with Liana Werner-Gray. Welcome, Cherie.
Thank you, Lisa. Great to be on your show.
Well, we are honored to have you, and I think you have so much information that's going to shed a lot of light on some areas that people might still be a little unsure about, although I have a suspicion that a lot of people in our movement have come across this info already. But in going through your book, I found several nuggets that are going to be especially valuable even to veterans in this area.
Yes, we have a lot of veterans. It's ever growing. The no seed oil movement is a hot movement right now. And so it is ever growing. But I have found people in this space do have questions. It's like it's very confusing. And the other side, the seed oil companies, the industrial seed oil complex, maybe I should call it.
Yeah, complex.
Has a lot of money at stake. And so there is the whole other argument on the other side, and it can get very confusing for people. So we're going to set the record straight.
Yes. Oh, very good. Okay. Well, many people know you as the Juice Lady. So let's start there. How did a Juice Lady become so interested in dietary fats?
Oh, well, I have a Master of Science, as you just gave in the intro, in Whole Foods Nutrition from Bastyr. So anything we put in our mouth is part of my study, my work as a nutritionist. But I got the name Juice Lady when I was still at Bastyr University. When I was completing my master's, the Juice Man Company came to my university, and they were looking for a couple of graduate students to write the little booklet that went in the juicer. And so I got chosen, and it was like, I'll take anything. I'm a student. Sign me up. And that led to a whole new career of being their Juice Lady for that company. They sold to Salton in kind of mid-90s, and they were the company that did the George Foreman grill. And I just happened to be there, became George's nutritionist and the other spokesperson, co-spokesperson for the grills. And that was all about dripping away that fat, which I think is a good thing, getting rid of that fat, getting it out. But I started looking more into fats and oils. And then in early 2000s, I wrote the book, The Coconut Diet. And at that time, coconut oil was not readily available in the US. You could find it at health food stores, little jars, paid a lot more for it. And that was about it. And people were still afraid of coconut oil. It had gotten a very bad rap because it does have some saturated fats in it, but it's very healthy. So I wrote about it, some other authors wrote, and we brought it back. We brought it back to the West. And I'm thrilled that it's here to stay and it's everywhere. You can go to any supermarket and find it today.
Yeah, you can get a big old container of it at Costco for such a reasonable price, like you said. Now, when you say seed oils, what oils are you mainly talking about, and why are they different from traditional fats? And then plus coconut oil, where does that fall in the mix? Because at first blush, I might guess that falls into seed oil category.
Coconut oil doesn't. It's actually a fruit oil. And so I'll give you the good oils first because everybody wants to know, oh my goodness, what can I have, right? Here's what I can have. What can I have? So yes, besides coconut oil, olive oil never fell out of style. It's always been good for us. It's a fruit oil as well. Get extra virgin always. The first press is usually cold press. And then avocado oil is also a good one. It has a high smoke point, and that's an important thing if you're doing higher heat cooking at home. And then sesame oil is a good seed oil, probably because people don't use a lot of it. It's usually in small bottles, and you usually, don't get much of it, so they don't adulterate it like they do the other seed oils. And then ghee, which some people call oil of butter. It's clarified butter. Those are your 5 that are the oils that are great to cook with. And then, of course, the animal fats making their way back. Butter isn't the demon we thought it was. And even tallow. Look, it's been in the news. Steak and Shake got a lot of press when they switched their deep fat fryers from a seed oil to beef tallow. So now we should go into probably what are the seed oils? Why are they so bad? So at the top of the list is canola, which is rapeseed oil. Canola stands for Canada oil. For obvious name, rapeseed isn't too popular a name. And it's a big GMO crop. So it's got a double whammy of why it isn't good for you. And then soy, same thing, big GMO crop. It's hard to even find organic soy. And then corn, another big GMO crop. So those 3 oils not only are processed terribly, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but they're GMO. And then in addition, grapeseed oil. And we were told for such a long time, oh, grapeseed oil is so good for you. No, it's not heart healthy, and it's not good because of how it's processed. And then safflower and sunflower and rice bran, cottonseed, and peanut oil. Those are your seed oils, and they're processed in industry. So we call them industrial seed oils, starting with high heat. So big vats of seeds, big drums of seeds get heated to very high temperatures, like about 500 degrees. And that's the start of extracting the oil. And then crushing and pressing, and then chemicals come into the mix. Hexane is one that is very toxic, and it is there to extract the last little bit of oil out of those seeds. And then we have deodorizers, neutralizers, bleach agents, on it goes. I don't know every chemical in there, but there's a lot that get dumped in before this oil rolls out to the market, golden, without a smell, without a taste. And you know what happens through all that processing? Very toxic byproducts are created. So it's oxidized oil. It's creating aldehydes, lipid peroxides. When we get that in our bodies, it is damaging our cells, damaging our arteries, damaging our health. And we have a whole chapter on the science of seed oils being linked to a whole variety of diseases, starting with heart disease, cancer, diabetes, metabolic disorders, and on it goes.
Yeah. If you just imagine taking some hard little dry seed and trying to get some oil out of it, unlike the fruits you described, like olive and avocado. It's just pretty unnatural. And how did it come to be? I know because I read your book that cottonseed, for example, started to be used for oil.
Yes. So it was the turn of the century before last, and cotton was a big crop, and the seeds were piling up and rotting.
As waste.
They were waste, and we needed waste management. And so they came up with the idea, let's make oil out of them. And it was initially very dark and smelly, and they used it to lubricate machinery. And clear up through World War II, it was used like for aircraft and ships as a lubrication. And at the same time, though, we got into maybe the 1920s, and they were saying, lots of seeds, we need something else, we need to do more. And so they got the idea that they could refine this oil even more and make it not smell and look better, and roll it out to the American cook as the new modern oil that's very shelf stable. You don't have to refrigerate it, and easy to use. And so it kind of made its way along a small portion of the market, though, through the 20s and 30s, and coconut oil was still popular. It was known as the healthiest oil on earth. I've seen old ads about it. Coconut oil was extremely healthy and good for you. And then came World War II, and the ships bringing the oils from the Southeast Asia couldn't make it through the waters, and because of the war. And so the seed oil industry saw a perfect opportunity. Let's step up production and really roll this out now, because the competition is knocked out of the market. And by the end of the 40s and heading into the early 50s, heart attack suddenly shot up like drastically. And everybody was scared. People they knew were dying, and they wanted to know what was going on. And so the government got involved, scientists, doctors, physicists, they did autopsies, and lo and behold, they found plaque in the arteries, tested the plaque, found fat and cholesterol in the plaque, and said, there's your culprit. And a few common sense voices on the other side said, wait a minute, we've been eating butter, eggs, cheese, dairy products, red meat, beef tallow, lard for centuries. So why suddenly would it start causing these problems? A few people were looking at the arteries beneath the plaque and saying, they're all irritated. That plaque is like a scab. Like if you brushed your hand over and over with a stiff bristle brush, you would form a scab after a while if you quit brushing. And that's what's happening with the wounding in the arteries. Well, now cardiologists that have done autopsies have determined here's what's wounded the arteries in the first place. Seed oils, sugar, smoking, all of those were really big in the early 50s. And then, of course, all of the chemicals in our processed foods as well. But when you've got a wound in the artery, you're going to get plaque forming over that. And so the lipid hypothesis was born. They blamed also coconut oil because it had some saturated fat in it. And they then called the seed oils heart healthy. These, they said, are what you need to cook with to prevent heart attack. Did it work? Absolutely not. Still, the number one killer in America is heart disease. And we've got seed oils in just about everything that some people eat from morning to night.
And they've painted this cartoonish caricature of you want these nice liquid oils that don't solidify at room temperature, because otherwise they'll solidify in your arteries.
Oh, my goodness.
And looking at your book, I saw, tell us about the name Crisco.
So Crisco came about, Procter & Gamble did Crisco in the 20s, and it's hydrogenated vegetable oil. Now it's fallen out of vogue with the American cook. Not too many people buy it because we know it's loaded with trans fats. And people have gotten the message about those trans fats pretty much, because margarine fell out of style. You go to the grocery store, you don't see much in the way of margarine or Crisco, but it's still used. and who's using it and why is it still a strong financial industry? Restaurants are using it, and packaged food industries are using it. So I thought when I was writing my book, I'm going to look online and see. I bet you I was thinking that Crisco isn't making much money at all right now, because I went to my local grocery store, there were a couple of cans on the lowest shelf, and I thought, okay, no, that wasn't true. It is still a strong and viable business, and who's using it are the restaurants. And especially they like to paint it on top of grilled things or fried things, and it makes it look all cheap. And they put it in packaged, yes, and call it just vegetable oil, not Crisco.
Okay. And Crisco stands for crystallized cottonseed oil. And what is a trans fat?
It is a particularly toxic fat, like a free radical. It is an adulterated fat that is created from all that processing, and it is particularly harmful. And they did identify that and link it with heart disease. So what happens when these very toxic byproducts like trans fats or lipid peroxides or aldehydes get in your system? They damage cells. And so you see things like damaged arteries, but we get damaged cells right down to the cellular level. And what is the outer coating of a cell? Fat. So if we only have poor quality fat in our diet, or mostly poor quality, we don't have omega-3s, which we need. We don't have the good oils. The body's going to use what it does have, and we're going to have faulty cell membranes because the body used it to replace what it was needed when it was time to replace something.
And is it fair to say that trans fats don't exist in nature? Those are all just concoctions produced in a factory?
They are man-made concoctions that are very, very toxic and very damaging, and they create oxidative stress in the body. And what's happening? Brain to toes, oxidative stress. Your brain is 60% fat. A good portion of that is cholesterol. What if in the brain we're replacing what's there with faulty fats? Well, they've linked seed oils to Alzheimer's and dementia. They've linked it also to emotional issues like anxiety and depression, even aggression. So it's a bad actor from all the way around, everything you look at.
How, if a person were to cut these completely out of their diet, how long would it take? I suppose it must depend, but to really recover and say you replace them with nice, beautiful, stable, natural fats, how long would it take to reverse the damage that's been done?
These seed oils have a half-life of about 600 days. So a little while. But I always say to everybody, don't be discouraged, because you start right now, and as cells turn over and good fats are needed, the body will have something to grab, right? And it'll have something to utilize right at that moment. I do have one great story. I have a young woman I worked with who suffered from migraine headaches and tried everything and finally cut out seed oils as much as possible. And her headaches went away and never came back.
Wow. That's a pretty easy fix, huh? I mean, sometimes it can be inconvenient, though, because like you were saying, it's pretty much impossible to go to a restaurant without coming across this.
Oh, yes. So many restaurants. But here's a good little tip. You can get an app and you can get a free trial for this app, Seed Oil Scout. And it has a map of your area and little green bubbles all around where you live. And it'll tell you which which restaurants are seed oil free. It also has a scanner, and you can just put that little box right on the barcode of any product you want to buy. And it'll tell you if there's seed oils in there and other nasty stuff. So it's a great little tool. Go to my landing page, thetruthaboutseedoils.com. And it's right there where you can just click that little link and get that free trial right onto your phone.
Okay. There was something else in your book, another great resource that certainly you'll understand why it caught my eye because I'd never heard of it. It's called the Templeton List, templetonlist.com, written by a man who I do not know by the last name of Templeton, who it's called Eat Healthy Wherever You Are, Your Guide to the Healthiest Restaurants in America. And it rates them on various features, including seed oils and local table and that kind of thing, which is kind of fun.
Yes. Isn't that fun? And he's a good friend. He and
Really?
his wife, Anne Louise Gittleman, she wrote Fat Flush, that famous book. They
Okay.
live in Idaho, where I used to live. Yes,
Okay.
well, I even went with them, my husband and I, to one restaurant that they were testing out in Los Angeles when we all spoke there one time. And it was a great restaurant. So yes, I absolutely recommend you sign up for the Templeton List as well. It's so good to know what's around you. 3 minutes from my house, I found out on Seed Oil Scout that there's a restaurant that doesn't use any seed oils. They only use olive oil. It's an Italian restaurant. They import their oil,
Wow.
their olive oil from Italy. They import their flour, which doesn't have that glyphosate and all the other nasty sprays on it. So you can actually eat their bread. You can eat their olive oil. You can eat any dish you want to order because it's all done seed oil free. I love going there.
Oh, wow. You're lucky.
I
That's so
am.
close. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I just want to mention your book has a lot of great references like Seed Oil Scout and Templeton List.
Yes.
Well, if a listener might say, my doctor told me canola oil and vegetable oils are good for my heart. How do you respond to that?
Yes. So lots of doctors are saying that, and other educators, influencers, and they're anything but heart healthy. So I'm going to go back to, let's begin at the beginning, sort of.
Mhm.
Between, I looked up statistics of how much heart disease increased between like the 30s and the 50s. The 30s, seed oil was a very small market. And the 50s, it was a big market. It increased, heart disease increased over 130% in those 2 decades. It's like, wow. And then it kept going up. And we had all this teaching, all these organizations, the government involved. Everybody was saying, here's your heart healthy diet, avoid these fats, eat these oils. And did it solve? It solved no problem. So there are numerous studies that link these oils to heart disease. But the doctors are trained without a lot of nutrition in their education, and they just repeat what they're told. And so this is the current, I put wisdom in quotes, the wisdom of the day, which is not wisdom at all. And most doctors are still repeating that. But here's another thing as to why these oils aren't good. I talked about the processing, but I didn't talk about the omega-6 to the omega-3 imbalance.
Mhm.
These oils are made up of polyunsaturated fatty acids, and linoleic acid is the dominant one. And yes, we need those. And this is where the other argument goes. Well, everyone says we need linoleic acid. We need polyunsaturated fats. They're very important for our health. Omega-6s, it's true. We do, but we don't need them in the ratio we're getting or the form often that we're getting them in. But people are eating so much of them because they are just dumped in so many foods that people eat morning to night that they're getting a huge imbalance. There are now integrative medical centers that are testing omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. And so many people that I've talked to that are into health have said to me, they were shocked. Their ratio came out 20 to 1. And it's like, what? And that's what is estimated. Most people are at about a 20 to 1, 20 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. Where should we be? No more than about 4 omega-6 to omega-1 in our system, somewhere between 4 and 1 to 1. And so what is that doing in the body? Creating inflammation. When you have too much omega-6, too much of the polyunsaturated fats, it creates inflammation, just like the processing of the oils and the oxidized aspect of these oils create inflammation. Too much omega-6 does. What's at the root of every disease, starting with heart disease? Inflammation. So you know what we should be testing? Not cholesterol, because so many tests show cholesterol really has nothing to do with it. That's what so many institutes have concluded. It was as many people dying with heart disease with low cholesterol as with high, and they threw it all out and said it has nothing to do with it. But what does? Inflammation. And what are the markers? Histamine. We should be tested for histamine levels, LPA, which stands for lipoprotein, little a, or C-reactive protein. Those three. Those are your markers, and that's what we should be tested for. So that's a long answer to what do you do if your doctor says, get canola oil for your heart? Don't get canola oil for your heart. Get olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, or maybe ghee if you like that. Those are the ones for your heart.
And you named, are all vegetable oils high in omega-6s?
Yes, vegetable oil was the name given to these oils when they rolled them out for the grand entrance for the American cook. There aren't any vegetables in there. There's seeds. Yeah.
And then to consider ratios, I mean, well, you said we do need some omega-6s, but I take it that you would suggest other sources for omega-6s than seed oils.
I do. Eat the seeds, eat the nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and whole grains. And there's so many that we can choose from, whole and ancient grains. And so those are going to have omega-6s in them. And avocados, some of our greens have a little bit. We should be just fine for our omega-6s by eating a whole foods diet. We don't have to worry. But polyunsaturated oils, a little bit for cooking. Like if you had a sunflower seed oil that was processed correctly, like with just expeller press, which is very low heat and no chemicals, a little bit of that would be fine. But not when they take these highly processed oils, corn or canola or soy, for example. Those are the big three they really like because they're very cheap, and just dump tons of it in all this packaged food. From our snacks, our bagged popcorn, our chips, crackers, mayonnaise, salad dressings, sauces, dips, even that plant-based milk that you like to put in your coffee can often have seed oil in it. Well, and then going out to restaurants and fast food places, it just goes on and on. Anything that you buy, often boxed, frozen. If you want to pop something in the microwave and you look at the label, I don't do that, but if you did,
Same here.
you'd find seed oil. So we're just bombarded with it way, way, way too much, and then adulterated. It's how it's processed, to roll it out very cheap so that manufacturers will just love to buy it because it's very cheap to add to their product.
And shelf stable.
Yes.
What are some, getting back to the omega-3 to omega-6 ratios that you said are ideally 1-to-1 or 1-to-4? I'm switching the order from what you said. What are some omega-3 sources?
So we have some wonderful sources, and that flaxseed oil. I love flaxseed oil. I take about a tablespoon every night. And walnuts, walnut oil. These oils that I'm naming need to always be cold. You can't heat these or cook with these because they are very, very fragile. But walnuts are a very good source of omega-3s. Walnut milk, if you're into making your own plant-based milk, bake walnut milk from time to time. It's very rich in your omega-3s. Black seed oil is another good one. And then fatty cold water fish. Wild caught, of course, like salmon or trout, sardines are good sources as well. But that's a more narrow category. So we have to be, more concerned and interested in upping our omega-3s while we lower our omega-6s. and we should notice we're feeling better. And I noticed this morning, I was washing my hair and I thought, oh, it feels so soft. And I noticed when I take flaxseed oil, it really does that. My hair feels very soft and seems to have more shine. So, these oils are going to show up in our skin, our hair, as well as internally. It's going to make a difference in our brain and how we think. If we're getting the right oils and the right ratios, it's going to help us all the way around. But oftentimes it isn't an overnight thing. It isn't, wow, I switched my oils last week and I should be feeling like a person. It doesn't quite work that way usually. For some it does, like my friend with the migraine headaches. They just didn't come back when she got switched over. But more, it's a gradual change as the cells turn over, as we're cleansing and supporting our body. But here's a wonderful thing. I'm coming out with a new reel. I have reels that come out all the time, Juice Lady Cherie reels. But I did one on oils that cleanse and support the organs of your body. And coconut oil and olive oil were great for the liver. As I did my research on that, help to cut down on the inflammation in the liver. And coconut oil, the liver likes to burn because it's dominant in medium chain triglycerides. And then for lungs, black seed oil, it helps to cut down on inflammation in the lungs. And so many people have had upper respiratory conditions this year. It seems to be a big thing going around. Well, and some people are saying their lungs just aren't healing up quite right. Try black seed oil.
Okay. Is that another one that you wouldn't want to cook with?
No, you don't want to heat that. Any
Okay.
of these high omega-3 oils, they're so fragile
Okay.
that you really want to be careful of the heat. So you want to store them in a refrigerator. You don't want to keep them too long. Like flaxseed oil, write a date on it. If it's not something that you take every day, then you want to write a date on it. And after 3 months, toss what's left.
Okay. They go rancid quickly. Are you able to tell from smelling it if it goes rancid, or you're just going to use your date that you write?
I go by the date. Often, though, you can get a sniff, a whiff that it doesn't smell, it smells off, or a taste. It might start tasting a little more rancid, a little more bitter, something like that. And then it's just time to toss it. We don't need anything that's rancid. And here's another thing I want to talk about of tossing. Smoke point is something to be very aware of. I was scrambling some eggs. Once in a while, we have scrambled eggs, and I put a little salmon with it this morning. And I noticed coconut oil has about a medium smoke point. If you get your flame just a little too high, it can start smoking, and that's when your oil starts denaturing. So you want to be very careful of that. If you're doing higher heat cooking, use avocado oil. It's got a higher smoke point, like about 480.
Okay, so if it starts smoking that you've heated it too much, should you maybe just throw that away and start over for your best health?
For your best health. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sad as it may be, it's like, oh no, oh darn.
Yes. What kind of label terms should people look for under which these seed oils are sort of hidden on the package, that it's not going to just go industrialized seed oil?
Never. And they're getting smarter, right? As we get smarter, they're getting smarter.
Yeah.
A lot of times now it will just be labeled vegetable oil, which then you don't know what is that, but just determine that that's going to be a seed oil or maybe a combination. Oftentimes it's a combination of several of the different seed oils. If it's a good oil, a fruit or a nut oil, and I didn't name the nut oils, macadamia and almond oil are good oils as well. They're not as readily available. But if it's a good oil, they're going to proudly list it. Like now, I'm so encouraged. I went to our Sprouts Farmers Market, which is near my house where I shop all the time. And I'm always looking at the snack foods on the shelf. There is now avocado oil popcorn in bags, avocado oil and avocado oil organic chips. We have crackers like Mary's crackers without seed oil in them. We have avocado mayonnaise. I mean, things are starting to look up. You can actually find some things that you can buy and feel good about. So read the label. It will proudly be displayed if it's a good oil. If it says vegetable oil, pretty much it's going to be bad seed oils. Or then oftentimes they do still list the real oil, the one oil that they use, canola or soy, corn, safflower or sunflower, and so forth.
Is soy lecithin a form of the seed oil, or is that something a little different?
It's something different, processed differently. It's often sold as a health product. So usually it's quite different.
Well, I know for me, I mean, I don't have these things in my house, but going to a restaurant, I've probably become an unwelcome diner with my friends and the restaurant. Do you have any strategies to use at a restaurant that's not on the Seed Oil Scout approved list?
I do. I have a couple of them. You can always ask, what oil are you cooking this in? Or, do you have a dressing? I often ask if they have a vinaigrette made with olive oil and vinegar. And most restaurants now do. If they serve you butter that's all whipped up and fluffy, chances are strong that it's whipped with a seed oil. I got a butter the other day at a restaurant, and it looked like it had been. So I asked, and he said, no, there's no seed oil, nothing in it. They just whipped the butter itself, but it's 100% butter. So I think too, as we start asking these questions, they're going to start getting the message. My customers don't want this seed oil. Maybe we should do something different, like Steak and Shake has done. Oh, and Steak and Shake just proudly advertised recently, they're using 100% butter sourced from local farms. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. What do they use it on?
So they probably have rolls, breads, or something.
Okay. Nice.
And I don't know if I don't know if they have baked potatoes, if they're melting it on it. I haven't been to a Steak and Shake because we don't have one in our area. But I'd like to go. I'd like to learn more about what they're doing. And they're using 100% grass-fed beef, they said as well. So times they be a-changing.
What about main dishes at restaurants? I'm thinking sauces and curries, and something just tells me this probably are to be avoided. My beloved Indian curry, though.
Darn. Well, you never know. Always ask. And here's the thing I say to people too. You're out at your favorite restaurant with your family or your friends, and you want to enjoy yourself. And joy is part of health, good health.
Right.
We can't just obsess over everything. Oh, I can't eat anything. Stay away from fried foods as much as you possibly can, because we know that is really not good. Really bad oils, double whammy on those oils. They've heated them again in the restaurant. But the rest of it, you want a curry or you want a sauce on something you got, go for it. Have a good time. Once in a while, right? We don't do it that often. We don't go out that often. And enjoy yourself, enjoy your friends, and get the Seed Oil Scout app or the Templeton list and find some restaurants around where you live. And once in a while, you can talk your friends into going there, maybe.
Right. Yeah. I have a little tiny bottle of just balsamic vinegar that I carry in my purse. So I have a salad dressing that makes me happy.
Oh, yes. And I love that.
Yeah. In the book, you discuss baby and children's foods. And I know we touched a little bit on snacks and, ready-made crackers and cookies and popcorn and stuff before you talked about the good ones. What should parents know without panicking?
So baby formula, I don't think you can get a baby formula without seed oil in it and a lot of seed oil. So they analyze mother's milk and the amount of linoleic acid, omega-6 in mother's milk, and they want to create that ratio in baby formula. So they're dumping in a lot of seed oil. Like, yikes, poor babies. What an awful start to set them up. But I was on a show recently with a young mom. She's got a show for moms, young moms. And she said, the secret is toddler formula. You can find toddler formula without
Oh,
seed oil. And so I thought,
okay.
well, how cool is that? And so it's kind of something the moms are passing around this information, pass it on and let young moms know about that. And then for snacks for those little guys, I am encouraged, like I just said, you can find the olive oil popcorn now, especially if you go to more health-minded stores, maybe Sprouts, Whole Foods, natural grocers. But more and more stores, just regular grocery stores, have healthy sections. And so that is so encouraging. And you can find the chips with, as I said, avocado oil or olive oil. Even the big box stores are starting to carry this because they know this is what people want. And you're starting to find the crackers like gluten-free almond flour crackers. You can find some without the seed oils. And the more that we buy the good products, and even it might be a few pennies more, you're paying a little bit more at the front end. You're avoiding paying a whole lot. I call it at the back end. When you're sick,
Right.
you pay
Yeah.
a whole lot more when you're sick. So let's support our own bodies, our families, and the industries that are trying to do the right thing and make the good changes. And, the more that we can make our own little snacks at home too, the better.
Yeah.
Because I do popcorn in my air popper, and then I drizzle coconut oil or sometimes coconut and some grass-fed butter combined over the top of that popcorn and some sea salt. And we
Oh,
take
yeah.
that to the theaters. We don't
Nice.
mess with that horrible
Right.
theater popcorn that's just loaded with toxic oils and chemicals. And what a great snack. It's so delicious. Everybody loves my popcorn. And then you can make things like almond butter balls or peanut butter balls and just add like some oats to it. And sweetener of choice like stevia or monk fruit or coconut sugar and some coconut flakes and vanilla, and mix it all up and make little balls and roll it in coconut flakes or chopped nuts. They are so good. And
Oh,
your
that sounds great.
little people at home, they'll love them.
Yes. And maybe you even have them help, and you're teaching them, we can do this for ourselves, and, talk to them about why we're not getting all those goldfish crackers and stuff from the store. Another good source for a formula recipe, if people need it, is the Weston A. Price Foundation. I've heard they have a very good baby formula.
Excellent.
Okay.
Make your own, is it?
To make your own, yeah.
Excellent. Even better. Even better. You can gauge everything that's going in there and make sure it's all organic.
Right. Yeah. So you have control. You really know what's going into it. Okay, this one's a little out of left field, but here in Washington and the Pacific Northwest, canola and oilseed crops are also an agricultural and policy issue. How should people separate the health conversation from the...
Elise, I hate to say this, you're cutting out.
Okay. How about now?
Now you're better. I can hear you now.
Okay. Did you hear my question?
Only bits and pieces. No.
Okay. Here in Washington and the Pacific Northwest, canola and oilseed crops are also an agricultural and policy issue. How should people separate the health conversation from the farming and economic conversation?
Oh, how can you separate it?
I know it's hard.
I don't know how you separate that, because I'm sad that we even have a rapeseed crop thing going in the U.S. It's been so big in Canada, and now we've got this GMO crop down in Washington, and I'm just so not for it. So I don't know how you separate it, because we're growing something that's just so unhealthy for the people who are going to eat it, and goes together. Really.
Yeah, I know. Are there any other uses for these crops? I mean, I'm imagining biofuels or something.
There might be, and I wish I knew more about that. I would need to check into that, but I could see if you got to do something with a GMO crop, let's look at fuel. Like we did cottonseed oil way back. We used it on machinery. I'm all for that.
Right. Yeah. I use it as a lubricant or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of glyphosate having originally been used to clean the rust out from industrial pipes. And then it gets transferred to the food system.
That's right. And making us all sick. And people have great issues. Some people really have issues with it. We all do in some way, though.
Right. Right. You just don't know if and how much it's being manifest at this time in your own body.
That's right.
Well, you've been writing for many years from a place of prevention and healing. And you mentioned the one lady about the migraines. Do you have any other stories of changes you've seen in people who remove seed oils and return to traditional fats?
Oh my goodness. I have more stories around juicing and changing diet. So, but when they change their diet, they are going to traditional fats because they're following my program. And that's all I have in there. I, for a long time, before it was fashionable and a hot, trendy topic, I was against most of the seed oils. I just didn't know about grapeseed oil. But let me tell you some stories that are, to me, pretty amazing. But it ties in with my juicing teachings. I had a lady that came to me having gained 50 pounds of water weight, and no one could help her. Didn't know what was wrong with her. Her naturopathic doctor, allopathic doctor couldn't help her. Pretty much said, get your affairs in order because you aren't going to make it. And what could she do? She asked me, and I got her diet diary, looked at everything, and it looked pretty good. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to have a glass of green juice before each meal. And let's see where you go. You have nothing to lose and everything to win. 30 days later, I heard from her. She'd lost the 50 pounds of water weight.
Oh, wow.
Even walked down to her mailbox before. Now she was walking about a mile, chopping firewood, cleaned out her garage. She was a brand new person.
Wow.
That's a wow, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I have so many stories from our retreats. We have health and wellness retreats with raw food diet, mostly raw food and all organic, and a spirit, soul, body approach to health. I've had people get up out of wheelchairs and no seed oil. No seed oils ever at our retreats. But I had a lady get up out of her wheelchair and never went back on the next to the last day of the retreat. I had a lady come with tumors that you could feel. We could all feel them in her back. And I think it was 7. And we could feel them shrinking as the week went on. She'd say, feel this, feel this. So amazing. And we've had people with injuries, but probably I was just reminding my husband of one lady who came and she had heart disease and she was in bad shape. Her cardiologist was very worried about her, didn't know if she was going to make it. And 1 week at our retreat, went back because she was feeling better, went back to see her cardiologist and to say, has anything changed? Because I feel different. He said, you're my new model patient. You are in a whole new category. Do you know, I heard from her, I think it was last year. She sent me a picture. She's 83. She's cute as a bug's ear. She is still going strong. And here she wasn't supposed to make it. And this was like a decade and a half ago. That was a wow.
That's exciting. And did the doctor say, what did you do? Perhaps I should implement this with some other patients.
He said, what did you do? And don't stop doing it.
Right. Do whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're my model patient. But he didn't say, I'm going to start passing this on to my other patients. No.
Too bad. Well, I'm sure she's passing it on to anybody who will listen. That's exciting.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see. We have about a couple minutes left, Cherie. What do you want readers to learn about asking better questions about things that relate to trust, the food industry, marketing, and institutional advice and expert consensus that later gets called into question?
Oh my goodness. Trust the science, we were told, right? I mean, there is good science. We've got it in our book. But trust the science, we were told. That science said smoke camels. That was a little jingle. More doctors smoke camels. And trust the science, no more egg yolks, just eat egg white. And then we ended up with egg white injury. That's an official title. I mean, I could go on and on. No baby, no mother's milk, only baby formula. And then we found, oh no, that's not right. That's not great for the immune system. You know, you've got to use common sense, right? And then get armed with good information. Get my book, The Truth About Seed Oils. Get other books that really arm you with truth so that you can be a happy warrior in life and say, I'm fighting for my own health. And if something is not making sense, don't trust it. Don't buy anything that you don't know what those words mean, because it's probably some chemical on labels. And trust your gut instincts. We are the captain of our ship. You are in control of your health, and we have to take the reins, because when we trust somebody else, we often don't get the best advice. So we have to be good scouts on our own.
Yeah, nobody's going to care as much as you about your health. Well, I want to say thanks so much for spending this time with us today. It's really interesting, and I hope people do get your book, The Truth About Seed Oils. And Cherie, will you tell people where they can find you and follow all of your other great work?
Please come visit me at juiceladyinfo.com. Sign up for my free newsletter, and I'll give you lots of tips and recipes. If you go to my landing page, thetruthaboutseedoils.com, we've got free gifts there, and the Seed Oil Scout app and the Templeton list. You can get that. And follow me on Instagram at Juice Lady Cherie, and it's Cherie. Don't forget the E on the end. And I've got tons of reels that keep coming out, and lots of information and how-tos and making recipes. And I would love to connect with you. So please reach out. It would be nice to hear from you, and let me know about that you saw this episode of Informed Radio, Life Radio.
Great. Thank you so much, Cherie. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. It's always great to spend time with you. We always look forward to your feedback and hopefully a warm review. And Nathan Miller, our awesome station producer, thanks for all your good work behind the scenes. And this is your host, Lisa Templeton, signing off for the week. Here's to embracing your informed life.
Informed Choice Washington is a nonprofit organization that advocates for healthy immunity, medical freedom, and fully informed medical consent. The right to make medical choices without coercion is fundamental to our civil liberties and a basic principle in all human rights declarations. To learn more, tune in each Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. to an Informed Life Radio, and visit the website informedchoicewa.org. It's time to take a stand for medical freedom. Go to informedchoicewa.org today.
Did you know that solutions containing iodine can inactivate viruses in the nose and throat in 15 seconds? And hydrogen peroxide can do it in under 30 seconds. Decades of studies, including many conducted during COVID, have shown that properly prepared and used nasal spray and gargling solutions can reduce your risk of infection, reduce viral load, reduce symptoms, and reduce transmission of viruses. To learn more, go to healthyimmunitynow.org and check out the EFU Challenge. Why spread fear and infection when nature provides solutions? Go to healthyimmunitynow.org today.
The information contained in this episode is for informational purposes only. No material is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.